I cheated death in an explosion. Hey guys, Lady Borgia, and wow, this is one heck of a video today. How I cheated death in an explosion. Yeah. My heart is like beating a little bit fast, so I didn't expect that. It's also really hot here and stuff like that, but I tell the first story, the explosion that I was in 2 years before this. I'll link it above. This one is much, much bigger, but that one was bigger than I would say probably most people have ever been in. Came very near death in that too. Anyway, before we get started, the refreshments today were provided by a Teamy Blends, and if you use the code below, Lady Borgia 15, and their website, which I will link in the description box, you can get 15% off any of their products. This adorable tumbler that comes in a gazillion different colors, rose gold, other things, and then all of their various teas and skincare products, whatnot. It's all health-based, natural products. I chose Refresh, which is rosebuds, mint, dried mango, and strawberry, which is really close to a tea blend that I blend myself. So I love the packaging though. I get a little nervous telling this story. I'm gonna pet it. I'm serious. So anyway, we'll talk about them a little bit more. We're gonna get into the story because, oh my gosh, and I am definitely gonna be using my Refresh tea. So thank you, Teamy Blends, for the refreshments. Anyway, guys, so I was living alone. I was in a city, and I'm sorry about the birds. I think I'm Snow White or something. They come to my studio window. Anyway, I was living alone. I was living in a city, and I got up one morning, and it was actually in an old house. That's very common. And I'd gotten up, gone into the kitchen, and turned on the oven. And it was a beautiful kitchen, center island, whatnot, but they had kept the old oven because it was really cool looking. So you had to light the pilot. And, you know, I was totally into that. I thought it was really cool. It was beautiful. It was sunny. It was yellow. It was wonderful. So I lit the pilot. I was reheating some breakfast. It was like 6 in the morning on a Saturday. I'd stayed in the night before. Because I actually was starting a new job that day that had to do with opening up a big restaurant and a hotel. But that's another story. I got a lot of story times. Anyway, came back from the bathroom. Whew! Hold on. I was rubbing, my nose was hitting this like a dingbat. When you get it, yeah, that doesn't work. It does pop back more. Okay. So anyway. Whew. Anyway, I came back from the bathroom, and this was in December, so it was really, really cold out. I'm in the New York area, and I went to open, it's a big full-size oven, and I had flannel pajama bottoms on, and a t-shirt, and a big, thick fleece top with a v-neck, and I bent over and opened the oven. And I'll never forget this. Like, I just saw it. A fireball the size of the oven, like I am bent down, hits me squarely in the face and the chest. And boom! The whole thing explodes and picks me up off my feet and throws me in a fireball. A freaking human fireball, me, into a wall, picked up, whoom, like a cartoon character. And like, I remember the physical sensation of flying through the air on fire before I hit the wall. And the force that I was hit, and you know, I was hit square in the face and the chest. So it was just like, wow. Wow. So, bang, I hit the wall, and I looked down, and there's flames everywhere. And one of the other things that I noticed is there's piles of hair. My hair was just literally falling off. It was just like almost like vaporizing off my head. And I looked down, and because of the center island, it was actually a very large kitchen, but I couldn't stop, drop, and roll. You know how they always tell you stop, drop, and roll? Well, what if you can't stretch out and roll? So I look down, and there's flames all over the place. I start patting myself out. I crawled over to the oven, and I have to say, thank God for my father. He taught me, he was a doctor, he was also a naval officer, but he taught me a bunch of survival skills and what to do in emergency. And, sorry, I gotta get you can see this is like a lot. I don't tell this very often. But, there's a good lesson to it, so keep listening. Ooh, this may not be relaxed, but refresh is definitely helpful. I crawled over to the oven and slammed the door shut and reached up and turned the knob off because, you know, the gas is still pouring out and you could hear it. And I got up and I'm still smoldering. Like, I know I'm not out. And I walked into the hallway, and my first thought was to go to the bathroom. So I walked into the hallway, walked to the bathroom, and there was a full-length mirror on the back of the bathroom door. And that's where I almost lost it, because I looked down, and there's this trail of hair just everywhere. And, like it was just burning like off my head, like down to the scalp. And that's when I first saw what I looked like in the mirror. And it was horrible. There were blisters all over my face, especially from here up, but the whole face, like blister, 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 no hair, burned my chest because of the V-neck. So I did the, you know, when you're about to cry. And I remember turning my head, and there was a window right here in the hallway. And I looked out and did, and I went, stop. Like, you don't have time to cry right now. And I closed my mouth and opened the door and got myself into the bathroom and directly into the shower, and got right into the shower, and there was smoke and steam rising up off of me, hair pouring down off of me. The smell was just indescribable, and I realized, like, that smell is you burning. Like, you're burning. And I got myself put out. And I think this is where I went into shock. And this is something I want to warn you guys about too. But there's also a big warning at the end of this. So I got out of the shower, and it's a little blurry there for a second. And I know I got my clothes changed and everything else like that. And it didn't hurt. And this is where I say I was in shock. Because suddenly, all of a sudden, my head, you know, like I said, I was supposed to start a new job that day. So all I could think about is I had to go to work that day. That's just how my brain works. And I obviously was in shock. So I went and checked on my clothing in the laundry. And in that place, the laundry was in the basement, and I had to go outside and around the outside of the building. It was in a city, and there was the washers and dryers were there. It was only 2 places in this old house. And it was adorable. And I got back, and I was looking in the medicine cabinet for what the hell I could put on my face. Now, mind you, like, my hair is burned off, but it's just, like, not clicking in my head. Not all my hair, but, like, this much of my hair is gone. It's laying in piles on the floor. I realized when I came back in the house after being outside that the heat, because it was winter, was starting to hurt my face. And that's when I realized it. I didn't feel it before that. And I started to realize, I said I looked in the medicine cabinet. You know what I put on my face? Cortisone cream. Anyway, yeah, and I knew cortisone cream was not for that, but I think I was just looking for anything. And plus, how do you call out of work on the first day and be like, excuse me, yeah, I won't be in because I was just, a human flaming fireball. Whew. Okay, thank you, Teamy. Anyway, so after I put the cortisone cream on and I knew it wasn't going to do anything, I was in desperation. I made a phone call. Gosh, I almost forgot that part. And I actually made a phone call earlier. First, when I made the phone call, I was upset. And my family was all out of state from where I was. And I called my good friend Nancy. God rest her soul. I love you, Nancy. She's since passed. But, and I left a message. You have to remember, this is 6 o'clock on a Saturday morning. And Nancy, I've just been in an explosion. I think I need help. Well, by this point, I calmed down and everything else like that. And I don't remember where in there I did that. But finally, I realized, I really think I need to go to the hospital. I need to go to the emergency room. So I got in my car, a little stick shift, and drove the 2 minutes across town to the hospital, looking like a war victim. Like, I kid you not. I almost swore. I kid you not. But I did. I mean, I had to be in complete shock. So, I got to the hospital, parked my car in the garage, took my ticket like a normal person. That's what a weirdo I am. And, walked into the emergency room, and the triage nurse about fell down. She came running out from behind it. Oh my God. And I've been in an explosion. My oven exploded. I was thrown into a wall. I mean, I looked a disaster. And, and my favorite sweatshirt, it melted together. I know, you're like, come on, girl, what the hell? You're worried about your goddamn favorite sweatshirt? I loved it. I tried to save it afterwards. Anyway, they immediately admitted me, and I realized I was in a lot of trouble when I didn't go to the normal part of the emergency room. I went to the special trauma unit, and they immediately wanted to give me morphine. And I never had morphine. And I'm like, whoa, that's when it hit me. That is when I realized, like, you're in trouble. They haven't even, like, really examined you, and they want to give you, like, morphine. That's serious. That's, like, some serious stuff. So I insisted before I allowed them to give it to me. I said, I've got to call work. I mean, I'd never had morphine in my life. And I didn't know if I was going to be like a drooling mess. I mean, I studied it in school. I was psychology, biology, pre-med. I'm not going to go on my whole list of like education and whatnot. But, so I knew exactly, the mechanism of action physiologically and everything else like that. So I called work. This is where I've got to call work and finally say, like, this is what's happened. And, because I was supposed to be there later in the day. And I had to call, and they picked up. It's a major hotel. I'm not going to say which one. And I said, hi, I can't come to work today because I'm in the emergency room at blah, blah, blah hospital. It's very well known. And because I've been in an explosion. And the woman says, what? And I had to repeat it. I said, you can speak to the doctor, you know. And they had to, I guess what they did was like fill out a form. Apparently she had never, you know, due to oven explosion, thrown into wall, cheated death, will not be at the first day of work. Yeah, I mean, you can't make this stuff up. This is like, they say, truth is much stranger than fiction. So anyway, they examined me and everything else like that because they were very concerned that it went down my lungs. I let them, after that phone call, I did let them give me the morphine, and I was not a drooling mess. It did make me sleepy and it did help some, but it still like hurt like friggin' hell. Because when I walked into the hospital, all I wanted to do was leave and go back outside in the cold. I was like, I want to go sit out in the cold. It hurts. Like, it really hurt. Yeah, anyway, I was in the hospital for a while. Finally, oh, that's the thing I forgot. I called my friend Nancy back. And, because I didn't want her concerned. I wanted her to know where I was. Now, I've been in an explosion. I need help. And then where the hell is she? You know, that's not fair. So I call her back, and I have a habit of sounding like things are okay when there's like a really extreme situation. I'll sound like I'm at the grocery store. I'm walking the dog. Like, I don't sound as serious as it is. And that's what I did. I called her and I called my work. And I left her a message. The second message was like, "Hi, Nancy. It's me. I'm in blah, blah, blah hospital, you know, trauma center, you know. I'm safe. It's okay now." She said when she got the message, she was like, "Oh my God, that freaking lunatic." Well, she came racing to the hospital, her and her brother. As soon as they woke up, actually, God rest his soul, unfortunately, both of them passed. Terrible accident. Love them both very much. This was much later. And, yeah, she almost burst into tears. And this is the part of the story that's absolutely crazy. So fast forward it. They find out my lungs aren't burned. They said I must have reflexively held my breath, because a lot happens in an explosion is people suck in and it goes up their nose, down their lungs, and that kills them. And the fear of infection from burns, because they thought obviously I had external burns, but possibly internal burns, and in your lungs. But I didn't. I was very lucky. I knew when to hold my breath. I don't know, maybe it's from swimming. Anyway, long story short, when it was finally time for me to go home from the hospital, it was Nancy who brought me home, and Nancy who took me to get my medication and get my car out of the garage, because dummy drove her 5-speed to the hospital. Yeah, seriously, like a war, I look like a ravaged war victim, burned hair, whatnot, blisters, a mess. Anyway, when we were exiting the hospital, when I was released, this lunatic escaped from the hospital. And you have to remember, like, I'm still on pain medications and whatnot, and was for a week or two after because of the severe burns. And so I'm, a little loopy. Not fully, but I could walk. Man, you can't kill me. They say that they took out that I'm obviously a cat, and after the previous explosion, that this one I lost at least 2 lives, that I'm definitely a cat. And yeah, this lunatic was running towards us, and I just stood there looking, and they tackled him with his rear end hanging out of his hospital robe, bare ass. It was weird. Anyway, I did go home. It took me 2 weeks to heal. Took a lot longer than that for my hair to grow back. And I wasn't fully healed, but enough to go to work. They actually were shocked that it healed that fast, and that I wasn't burned actually even worse than they thought. Like, it was, you know, 2nd and 3rd degree burns in my hands and whatnot, but my clothing protected a lot. My face, though, I have a V burn that is, I'll try to show you, it's really hard here and on my forehead, but there's a problem with this, and the reason why they're not going to show up as well, and this is the second part to this video, is I started new skincare that I found, and it's really inexpensive, and they had ones to help remove scarring and you know, acne scarring. I don't think they meant burn scarring, but yeah, that's why I wanted it, because I notice it. Nobody else notices it, but I can see it, and especially in my forehead and in my chest. And well, the products that I use work so damn well that it removed part of it in 2 days. Like, my mom and I were shook. She's like, where did that part go? And I'm like, I don't know, but I didn't take pictures yet because I didn't think it was going to happen that fast. So that's the next thing I want to share with you guys. But before I talk about skincare or anything next week, the big thing that caused this all to happen, and this is something that, so you guys avoid this, there was a lesson in the last explosion story, and there is one in this too. What caused this was they did not check when they redid the kitchen and decided to leave the old cool stove. They didn't check the gas lines. And it turned out the guy who was renting this place cut a lot of corners. So always make sure that these lines are checked and are safe. And because you can go to have some breakfast in the morning. Like I said, I was preheating it to put some breakfast in the oven at 6 in the morning, and literally blew my ass across the kitchen. So I am here, I am healthy, I am well, and check your gas stoves. And I will be back soon to tell you about the absolutely freaking phenomenal skincare that I have found. And if you got hyperpigmentation, acne scars, you're breaking out, whatnot, this stuff is like, holy hell, it's so good. And I've skipped days. And you guys, if you don't know and you're new, I don't wear foundation, but for rarely. And I've worn foundation twice on this channel. I'm not wearing it now. This is my skin. I have a little highlighter on and a little brow pencil and some lip gloss. So, you know, that's my skin, babies. Anyway, I hope I did a good start. I hope you enjoyed the story. I hope I told it well. I hope I didn't drag it out and stutter. I'm sure I did. But beware. Don't be a human fireball. Avoid a home explosion. You don't want to be... No. It's just bad. It's really bad. And I was very, very lucky. I obviously have quite a few guardian angels. But that is all. There is no more. Actually, there's a lot more to the story. But, you know, I don't want it to be 4 years long. So, I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I'm going to take one last drink of tea. Ooh. Very refreshing. And I'm going to edit this so you guys can see it. All right. I love you all. Lady Borgia.